You're not weak, you were simply never trained. Let that sink in. We live in a strange world, one that tells men to be softer, quieter, more agreeable, to shrink their presence, dilute their strength, and call it kindness. And maybe you listened. But now, you feel hollow, exhausted. Every rejection feels like an earthquake. One cold stare can spiral your entire day. And deep down, you know you were never taught to be mentally unshakable. You were told how to succeed, how to win, but no one taught you what to do when the world punches you in the soul. That's why we turn to ancient wisdom, the philosophy of warriors, Stoicism. Today, I'll walk you through 7 Stoic habits that will forge a man no chaos can break. Not to make life easier, but to make you stronger. Stoic habit number 1. Master the pause before you react. The man who can pause before reacting is the man who owns himself. Think back to the last time you lost your temper. It probably wasn't a major betrayal or a life-shattering insult. Maybe it was just a delayed reply, a careless word, a passive-aggressive comment. And what happened? You snapped, you reacted, fast, sharp, emotionally. And later came regret. But the Stoic man lives differently. He pauses. Not because he's soft, but because he knows. Every time you react without thinking, you surrender control over your life. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You don't get to choose what others say. You can't stop the world from throwing its chaos at you, but you always get to choose what you do next. And that choice? It's your power. It's your freedom. In that 1 second between trigger and response, you can reclaim your composure. You can choose wisdom over impulse. You can break the chain of self-sabotage. Let me be clear, this is not about repression. It's about restraint. It's not about silence because you're afraid. It's silence because you're calculating. Because you know, the calm man terrifies those who expect a fight. The world is full of noise. Everyone is ready to argue, react, explode. But when you pause, when you choose stillness, you become untouchable. You disarm the manipulator. You confuse the aggressor. You own the moment. And more importantly, you protect your peace. Because if they can provoke you, they can control you. But if you can pause, they lose their grip. Practice this today. When something triggers, you pause. Don't reply instantly. Don't justify. Don't explain. Don't fire back. Just breathe. Count to 10. Let the emotion rise and pass. Then choose your response with clarity, not ego. The man who pauses doesn't just survive the moment, he wins it. Stoic habit number 2. Train with discomfort. Sharpen the edge. A man who can't endure discomfort will never hold real strength. How much discomfort can you truly endure? 1 skipped meal? A night sleeping on the hard floor? A morning without your phone? Or maybe just 10 minutes without Wi-Fi before you start feeling itchy, anxious, unfocused? We live in a world addicted to ease. Everything is designed to make life smoother, faster, softer. But the cost of constant comfort is the death of inner strength. Discomfort isn't suffering. It's training. It's the weight room for your willpower, the battlefield for your discipline. Because if the only time you suffer is when life forces you to, you're not prepared, you're exposed. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in ancient Rome, didn't indulge in luxury the way he could have. Instead, he chose hardship. He would sleep on the floor, wear rough clothing, fast for days, and eat the simplest food. Why? Not out of misery, but because he wanted to train himself to face pain before life delivered it uninvited. He asked himself, is this what I was so afraid of? And when the answer was no, he became dangerous. Because the man who makes peace with discomfort becomes untouchable when the storm comes. Here's the truth. Every time you seek comfort instead of resistance, you give away a piece of your strength. Every time you run from pain, you delay your growth. But when you choose hardship, something powerful happens. You build armor. Your mind sharpens, your emotions harden, your instincts level up. And soon, what breaks others no longer touches you. Your challenge. Tonight, sleep on the floor. Tomorrow, skip lunch. This weekend, go 24 hours without any social media, no scrolling, no distractions. Let your body ache. Let the silence stretch. Let the cravings burn. And when they do, don't run. Breathe. Observe. And smile, because every moment of discomfort is carving a stronger version of you. You'll soon realize you don't need nearly as much as you thought. And once you learn how to live with less, you stop being afraid of losing everything. That's the edge. That's the Stoic way. Stoic habit number 3. Kill the need for validation. Reclaim your freedom. The man who needs to be seen is the easiest one to control. Let's be honest. How much of what you do is for them? You post something, then check who liked it. You share your opinion, then overthink how it sounded. You achieve something, but it only feels real when someone else praises you for it. We all crave recognition, but the moment that craving becomes a need, you're no longer free. You become a performer in someone else's play, smiling on cue, shrinking on demand, bending just enough to be liked, and slowly breaking in the process. That's not peace. That's slavery in disguise. But the Stoic? He walks a different path. He doesn't dress up his truth to be more digestible. He doesn't water down his values just to be applauded. He understands that approval is a drug, and withdrawal from it is where real power begins. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Read that again, slowly. You love yourself the most, but betray yourself the fastest. For likes, for applause, for the temporary high of being seen. And what's worse, most of the people you're chasing validation from wouldn't notice if you disappeared tomorrow. That's why the Stoic kills the need to be liked. Not because he's arrogant, but because he knows who he is. And when you truly know yourself, you don't need to be understood by others. That's their job, not yours. So here's your challenge. Go dark for 24 hours. No posting, no checking who viewed your story, no seeking feedback. Just exist. Write in a notebook, not for an audience, but for your soul. Stand in front of the mirror and ask, without attention, who am I? If that question terrifies you, lean into it. Because if you don't answer it yourself, the world will answer it for you. And their version of you will always be smaller than the truth. The man who no longer chases applause becomes unshakable because no one can manipulate a man who doesn't need to be seen. Be that man. Stoic habit number 4. Detach from what you can't control, own what you can. You suffer not because life is cruel, but because you're trying to control what was never yours. Every day, men wake up burdened, heavy, tense. But it's not their job. It's not their relationships. It's not even the chaos around them. It's their grip. They're clutching everything too tightly: outcomes, opinions, expectations, people. They're trying to control how others see them, trying to rewrite the past, trying to predict and manipulate the future. And they wonder why their chest feels like a battlefield every morning. The Stoic understands something most men never do. Peace begins where control ends. Epictetus, once a slave who became one of Stoicism's sharpest voices, said it clearly. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. That single sentence could save you from years of anxiety if you live by it. Because here's the truth. You control your thoughts, not their rumors. You control your discipline, not the result. You control your response, not the insult. You control your effort, not the applause. Everything else? That's wind, that's weather, that's noise. And when you stop trying to grip the wind, your hands are finally free to hold what actually matters. The Stoic doesn't surrender because he's weak. He surrenders because he's wise. He doesn't chase certainty. He prepares for chaos. He doesn't beg life to be fair. He trains himself to stay ready. So ask yourself right now, is this within my control? If the answer is no, drop it. Let it fall. Mentally cut the rope. You weren't built to carry what was never yours. The approval of others, the outcome of every effort, the loyalty of the disloyal, let it go. If the answer is yes, then act. Decide, move, focus, without complaint, without delay, without begging for results. The man who learns this doesn't just survive storms, he walks through them with clarity while others drown in panic. Detach from the noise. Attach to the process. Build your identity on discipline, not on outcomes. Because the man who knows where his power ends. That man, he's unshakable. Stoic habit number 5. Build an inner fortress. Become untouchable from within. Most men build their identity out of glass. The Stoic builds his out of stone. Here's the silent tragedy of modern men. Their confidence rises with praise and shatters with criticism. Their peace blooms under sunshine and withers at the first sign of rejection. They build their worth on followers, applause, validation, external structures that collapse when the world inevitably turns. And the world will turn. That's not a question, it's a guarantee. So the question is, what are you building inside? The Stoic doesn't wait for peace to be handed to him. He constructs it, brick by brick, habit by habit, value by value. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." But you don't arrive there by luck. You build that place. And you build it when no one's watching. Because when the applause stops, when the plan fails, when the people you thought were permanent walk away, you better have something inside you that doesn't break. The Stoic man's power doesn't come from noise. It comes from the silence he's trained to sit in. The code he refuses to break. The rituals he honors even on the worst days. Ask yourself this. When life hits, where do you go? Do you run to distractions? To the screen, the bottle, the comfort of blame? Or do you return to the fortress you've built inside, where clarity waits, where discipline lives, where no storm can reach? Because that fortress is your only real security in a chaotic world. Everything else is rented peace, temporary, fragile. Start building today. Wake up with discipline, even if you don't feel like it. Move your body not for looks, but for presence. Journal not to be perfect, but to be aware. Meditate not to escape, but to sharpen. Recite your values until they become instinct, not effort. Each action is a brick. Each moment of self-respect, a wall. And soon, you won't flinch when criticized. You won't fold when you're alone. You won't crumble when plans collapse. Because the world may shake, but the man with an inner fortress, he does not. Stoic habit number 6. Sharpen the blade of self-discipline. Become unstoppable. Discipline is not punishment. It's precision, it's power, it's freedom. Let me tell you something most men won't hear until it's too late. Motivation will fail you. It's not dependable. It's a mood, and moods shift like sand in the wind. The man who waits to feel like it will always be waiting. The Stoic doesn't wait. He moves, with or without the feeling. He acts, not because it's easy, but because it's required. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not a master of himself." Freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about doing what must be done, especially when you don't want to. That's real power. Discipline doesn't yell. It doesn't brag. It doesn't need a spotlight. But it builds everything. You want a strong body? Discipline. You want peace of mind? Discipline. You want wealth, respect, legacy? Discipline. It's the quiet engine behind every visible success. But here's the trap. Most people think discipline means burnout, They think it's about grinding until you collapse. That's not Stoic discipline. Stoic discipline is clean. It's measured. It's intentional. It's waking up when the alarm hits, not because you're excited, but because you said you would. It's saying no to temporary pleasure because you're committed to long-term strength. It's doing the hard thing without an audience, without a reward, without applause. Discipline is how you move from potential to reality. So sharpen your blade daily. Make your bed with precision. Eat clean with intention. Train your body without negotiation. Block distractions like your time is sacred, because it is. Stick to your routines, especially when it's boring. And when it gets hard, that's when the blade gets sharper. Each rep, each refusal, each quiet yes to purpose is a stroke of the whetstone. And soon, that blade cuts through excuses, through laziness, through weakness. You won't need to talk about being focused. You will be. You won't need to prove you're driven. Your life will show it. Because a man with discipline doesn't just look strong, he becomes untouchable. Stoic habit number 7. Choose purpose over pleasure. Walk the path that builds you. Pleasure makes you comfortable. Purpose makes you powerful. Most men live by one silent question. How can I feel good right now? That single question has destroyed more potential than failure ever could. It's why you scroll instead of build. Why you sleep in instead of show up. Why you choose short-term dopamine over long-term development. It's why you feel lost, not because you lack ambition, but because you're addicted to relief, not meaning. The Stoic doesn't ask, what feels good? He asks, what is my duty? What must be done whether it feels good or not? Marcus Aurelius, a man with unimaginable power, still began his mornings reminding himself, you were born to do this, not to indulge, but to act. Real purpose isn't sexy. It's not thrilling. It doesn't give you a sugar rush or applause. It gives you weight. It gives your life direction. It demands something from you, and in doing so, it makes you a man worth following. Because here's the truth. Men who chase pleasure become fragile. Men who pursue purpose become fortresses. One melts when hardship comes. The other grows through it. And purpose? It will cost you. It'll cost you comfort. It'll cost you popularity. It'll cost you weekends, distractions, and excuses. But what it gives in return is legacy. So ask yourself right now, what are you here to build even if no one claps? What are you willing to finish even when it's not fun? What pain are you willing to face because the mission matters more? That is your path. Not what feels good, but what makes you good. While others numb themselves with pleasure, you choose to sharpen yourself through purpose. While others drift, you march. While others quit, you continue because the mission isn't over. Purpose makes your life heavier, and that weight is what roots you when the storms come. The man who chooses purpose over pleasure doesn't need escape. He doesn't need applause. He walks with fire in his spine because he knows why he wakes up every morning. And that man, the world cannot move him. Conclusion, you've taken the first step toward becoming untouchable. If you're still here, you're already different. Most won't sit through the silence. Most won't admit, I'm not strong enough yet. But you did. And that means you're ready to train. Don't just nod and move on. Don't just agree and forget. Stoicism is not about knowing, it's about doing. Each habit you practice is a brick. And brick by brick, you build a man the world can't shake. No one can give you peace, but you can create it one day, one step, one choice at a time. The Stoic habit. If this spoke to you, give it a like. Subscribe to join this journey of mental mastery. And drop a comment below. I choose discipline over comfort, starting today. We'll see you on the path.